welcome everybody. I'm Rose Smith from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thank you for joining me today. I've got the astrological overview for September, and what a ripper month we're going to have. There's so much happening with the moon actually across August, September and October. Supermoons, eclipses, it's going to be full on in terms of sort of processing all of the transformational energies that we're going to experience over this 3-month period. So let's get on with it. I'll go to the board now for your horoscope. Firstly, I'm going to draw 2 cards as I normally do. Happy birthday to all early Librans, myself included, because it's your birthday month coming up. Alrighty, this month it's called the harvest because it relates to harvesting the grains and the veggies and whatever in earlier times in the US. So the farmers, or actually not the farmers, I'm sorry, the Native American Indians were referring to the moon as the harvest moon. It's a super moon, meaning it's within 360,000 kilometres of the Earth. So comparatively speaking, quite close. It's also a lunar eclipse. So we've got a lot happening. A lunar eclipse in Pisces, I will talk about that in a moment, what it means. But the 2 cards we're going to draw as theme cards. So the first card is the first half of the month and the second card the second half. September 2024, what do I see? Oh, don't know how to interpret this. It feels a bit dry. This could be something about droughts. I see sprinklers going. I see little seeds cropping up, but it's hard to keep the seeds going to grow. It's hard to get enough water. So maybe not in Australia because we're going into spring on the 1st of September, but in some other countries, drought is going to be a real problem, I feel. So please be careful with your natural resources. If you think of it symbolically, water is about your emotions. If there is a drought, it means sort of like repressing your emotions, keeping it all in. It's not a good idea because eventually those emotions are going to come out one way or the other, and they often make a mess when they do. So for the first half of the month, the card that comes out is the King of Swords. You might be dealing with somebody who has a tendency towards ruthlessness. This is typically somebody like a lawyer who's very logical and analytical. It could be yourself. You might be thinking in a very logical kind of way, which is fine in certain circumstances. So if you're dealing with money, for example, you want to be logical about it. Just watch the tendency to be a little bit blunt or a little bit hard without running your energies through a human heart. So think about other people, try to be empathetic, and with the lunar eclipse in Pisces, that's going to make people very empathetic one way or the other. One way the universe can do that is putting people through a difficult circumstance so that they can then relate to other people. If somebody doesn't have any empathy, Spirit will be trying everything they know to get that person to understand empathy at almost like a gut or a visceral level. The King of Swords, somebody very logical, cuts through right to the core of the matter with pure logic. They can be very quick in a conversation. They always have the right answer, the logical answer. It's because they've been through a hard time themselves, because he is seated on a diamond, heat and pressure, and a diamond at the back, again heat and pressure. So they've been through a hard time. So they've been through this scenario probably more times than you or I. But empathy is what is needed with this energy. So could be dealing with somebody in a government department, maybe the bank, Telstra in Australia, the most really difficult company to deal with. And yeah, it's just watch out, that's what I say. And if it's you yourself, try to bring some compassion into the conversation or into the decision. The second half of the month, what do I see for everybody? Umbrellas. Actually, it's Mary Poppins. This is a different interpretation I haven't struck before. It's Mary Poppins with an umbrella, and she's I don't remember the movie exactly, but I did see it when I was little. And it's like I think she used to raise that umbrella up in the air and she would fly. And let me know in the comments if that's right, because I just don't remember it clearly. But that's what I'm seeing now. It's like the ability to fly. So this is very quick and fast ideas coming to you, and the sense of liberation and freedom through logic, through thinking, allowing your mind to wander and be as free as you would like. So it's sort of like a variation of this King of Swords, but it's not the ruthless component, it's the ability to think and be free. The card that comes out is the Empress card. What a beautiful, it's not actually opposite, but what a beautiful alternative viewpoint. Alternative facts, as Kellyanne Conway likes to say. Alternative facts. The Empress, fertility, creativity, all things motherhood. A beautiful, successful card in a very feminine, caring, nurturing kind of way. She still takes action steps and gets stuff done. She's dressed in gold. It's the solar plexus. So it is about achievement. It is about success, but it's the more feminine flavour of success, if you like. It's a major arcana card. It's life-changing. The ability to change your life. The effects of this card could go for months, if not years. So here we have two opposites. We start on one side at the beginning of the month, and at the end of the month we end with not exactly an opposite energy, but an energy that is pretty different to how we start the month. We might start off in a masculine way and we might finish in a masculine way. Start off in a masculine way and finish in a feminine way. And just then the idea came, and let me know what you think about this. Is this politics in the US? Starting off September with some sort of win for Trump and Vance, the Republican masculine way of doing things, and then finishing off at the end of the month with some sort of taking over in a very feminine, caring kind of way, the Harriet's Waltz team. Let me know what you think about that. Happy birthday to all Librans. I think I said that, but particularly the early Librans this month, and myself included. I did say that. All right, let's make this bigger now that we know what we're dealing with, and we'll go like that. I might just move this over so you can bear these cards in mind as I talk, and maybe think about the dates for everything and what goes with what. So on the 1st of the month, September, Uranus is going retrograde. I don't know about you, but I have had so many unpredictable, not shocking, but sort of surprising events that sort of almost take your breath away, and you have to just sort of take a deep breath. So many things happening, and Uranus is like that. It is volatile and rebellious and brings a great need for freedom. It's going retrograde, which means a lot of the energy is going to be more internalized. So it's not going to play out in the physical so unconsciously. That's not to say that there won't be any unpredictable events. Of course there will be, but a lot of the energy is going to go within. So you might find that you're having unpredictable, out of the blue, out of the box, innovative ideas and even feelings coming up. So it can bring solutions. It's not necessarily a negative type of thing, Uranus retrograde. It's one of the transpersonal planets, so you probably need to meditate on it or have some downtime where you can really go within. Probably the more psychic or intuitive people will probably pick it up. Many people don't feel it at all. And then the 17th, 18th, depending like where you are. So it'll be the 18th in Australia and New Zealand, the 17th in US, Europe, UK, most of the rest of the world. And there's a partial lunar eclipse, which just happens to be a supermoon in Pisces. And of course in other star signs this will be in other areas around the chart, but Pisces is always spiritual. Pisces is always imaginative. Go with the flow, feel the feelings. So it's going to be a time of heightened emotions, very much so, with the supermoon having the moon so close to the earth, much closer than usual. And with the supermoon, it can be up to, I think it's 14% larger and 30% brighter, according to some figures. So those percentages are a little bit wishy-washy. It depends what website you read. But whichever way you look at it, it's going to be bigger and brighter because it'll be closer. The emotions are going to be very close to the surface of your mind. So you'll be aware of all these emotions, all of these things from your subconscious coming up. It'll be a great time to write everything down. You might start to have really good insights around patterns of behaviour and patterns of feelings in September, particularly around the 18th. The effect of a lunar eclipse can go for months. Some people say 6 months. It may have already started even now. I'm doing this the 22nd of August. It could have already started. But certainly the 2 weeks around the 18th, so 2 weeks before, from the 4th until about the 2nd October, it will be the strongest, and particularly around the 17th, 18th, it will peak. And so write everything down, because you never know, there might be some real gold nuggets in there. Now, that's followed up very quickly, not very quickly, let me change that, not followed up. Previous to that, I've put it there in the second position because it's important, but previous to that, on the 2nd of September, we have a new moon, and this new moon in Virgo is going to bring a sense of new beginnings. And Virgo is very much associated with order and organisation and details. So you might start to have these insights at a very detailed level. Now, please don't fall into the trap of perfectionism, as Virgo sometimes does. You might find that you want to get it exactly right. In my experience, and I used to be like that, because being an early Libra and I'm on the cusp of Virgo, and if you've got anything to do with Virgo, in any Virgo elements in your chart, you might feel this yourself, that need for perfectionism to get it exactly right. And sometimes it's not possible and it's not worth the time. So if you go for 85% right, then you're doing well. So new beginnings, bringing lots of details. Also, an interest in your health and well-being might become more apparent, particularly if you're in Australia and New Zealand, because going into summer, we're all of a sudden, we're saying goodbye to winter, and we've had some really cold snaps and some rain and wintry weather, even here in Queensland, in sunny Queensland. And it could be like today's 24 degrees Celsius, so it's beautiful today. But a new moon here brings this sort of concern around well-being and health. And so after the winter, of course, we might want to lose a few pounds. We might feel more like movement, exercise, a new diet regime, being more careful with our health. It also brings a sort of concern about the planet, nature, wildlife generally, and particularly in Australia, as it's getting warmer so quickly, you might be concerned about the wildlife. So please do leave water out for the wildlife. Try not to feed them. I know it's so hard, because you want to feed them because they've been through so much, and they're trying to come back from the terrible fires we had in 2019, when 3 billion with a B animals were killed. So a lot of Australians are trying to help the wildlife. That could be on your mind. On the 1st as well, Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. Pluto is a very highly transformational planet. It rules over the sort of darker side of life. It can be things like addiction, manipulation, abuse, but it's also birth, death, and rebirth, like the phoenix rising out of the ashes. It's in Capricorn and it's retrograde. So retrograde, again, a lot of the energy is internalized. It doesn't mean that it necessarily plays out on the physical world, but it's like you feel it within, especially if you're sensitive. In Capricorn, that can have some sort of physical effect because it's an earth sign, or it could be something to do with governments. It could be large corporations in Capricorn, could be authority type figures as well, or maybe your career as well. So I would say there might be a lot of thoughts coming up about career and authority figures that you're mulling over, but not necessarily doing anything about just at the moment. On the 4th of September, Mars goes into Cancer, And Mars in Cancer is not exactly at home because Cancer is very emotional, very empathetic, likes to help people and get along with people, and especially loves their family and their home. Whereas Mars is more forceful, more energetic, proactive about getting their own way, perhaps sometimes a bit too forceful, a bit too aggressive. But depending on where in your chart it falls, so in the case of Aries, it's falling in the house of home and family. This could indicate something like arguments around the home or with family members, or it could mean a lot of activity around the home and with the family. So you might be having your family over if you're an Aries and doing a lot of renovations or work around the home, maybe painting or something, interior decorating or something like that. But it gives a lot of energy in the home for Aries. But anybody's home really, because as I said, Cancer is a very home-loving type of star sign that is right up there. Home and family is right up there for Cancerians. On the 9th, and I should say that Mercury has turned direct. It turns direct on the 29th, or the 29th I think in Australia, 28th in other places. And this is of August I'm talking about. So Mercury is direct here, but it too, Mercury is moving into Virgo. So this will bring a lot of discussions about the details. Your conversations could go much longer than usual. Mercury is also to do with transactions like credit card transactions, debit card transactions. It's a good time to check your statements, that everything is in order with your credit card, debit card, or bank statements generally. Mercury can also sometimes be associated with scammers or tricksters. So as I said, do check your statements. Mercury in Virgo will bring a lot of discussions, a lot of thinking, a lot of messages about Virgoan type subjects, being organised, being systematic, and just generally checking things. But again, that feeling of looking at your health, that connection with the earth, those sorts of things. On the 22nd, the sun goes into Libra. Hello, fellow Librans out there. This is a beautiful time when beauty and peace becomes more important to people, which is a good thing. It's also about justice and fairness. And the King of Wands can sometimes go either way regarding justice and fairness. Sometimes the King of Swords. The King of Swords can use the justice system at their will. So they know all the ins and outs and all the rules. They're very clever people, generally speaking, but do they use empathy and do they run all their decisions through a human heart? Not usually. The Sun in Venus is also great for relationships. If you're in a relationship or you want to start a new relationship, or even a relationship you're sort of half in but it's non-committal, you might find it's going particularly well now and that some sort of commitment might come, or it might go to a deeper level. People who are already in significant or important partnerships could perhaps renew their vows, for example, or buy a home together, or have a baby, or go on a holiday, which really improves their relationship. The Sun in Libra is a beautiful time, a just time, where fairness and politeness and peace and beauty and love become very important. On the 22nd, at the same time, Venus goes into Scorpio, and Venus in Scorpio is quite good too, because Venus does look after money, and so this could bring up energies for investments, inheritances, wills, and because of that fair energy, you might find there's some sort of offer or opportunity around these issues. It's to do with shared resources. Sorry, I'm just coughing. I've had the flu. The influenza A, they call it. It's a terrible flu, and consequently I'll be looking at having a flu shot. I've never had one in my life, so I don't know what's going to happen, but I certainly don't want to go through that again. It's 4 weeks now and I'm still coughing. But anyway, basically getting better all the time. So Venus in Scorpio, it's great for intimacy. If you're in a significant relationship and it has felt a bit dry lately, so to speak, you might find that the intimacy level, the closeness to another, a special person, is improved now, and it's great for investments. It's great for even if you have to pay extra tax or superannuation or something like that, resources that are shared with another, whether that be the government or a corporation or even a person. Venus can really oil the wheels of progress, and you have very polite and productive discussions. Also, we have Mercury also going into Libra on the 26th, and so there's those discussions and transactions there. So all in all, likely to make great progress this month. There's a lot happening, and the next 3 months is going to be full on. Try to have a bit of time out if you can and meditate, and really anything you have to decide, really go deep down within yourself to make sure that you've got all of your energy and information that you can gather at your disposal so that you can make a decision from your mind that is informed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll have the horoscopes up on the website very shortly. Thanks again, and bye for now.